Guys like you and I know what a teve is. Is this essential to our survival in the hunter-gatherer sense of the word? No.
Fight Club is probably one of the greatest movies of all time. However, when it was released, Fight Club was not loved by critics. They called it too brash, too gory, and some even called it silly. According to one critic, the movie was a, quote, thrill ride masquerading as philosophy, unquote. But lovers of the movie didn't care, and very soon the movie became a cult classic and inspired a lot of people. Now you may have your understanding of what the movie was and wasn't about, but what is abundantly clear to anyone who has taken the time to watch this movie is that Tyler Durden, the most pivotal character in the movie, is the embodiment of a Sigma male. You may or may not agree with his ideals or his motives or his methods, or maybe you do agree. It's patently irrelevant. What is relevant and abundantly clear is that Tyler is what a Sigma male should be. And in this video, we'll be checking out how Tyler is the embodiment of the Sigma male. First off, how do we meet Tyler? In the movie, we meet Tyler Durden when the narrator meets him on a flight home. We learn that Tyler is a soap salesman. Immediately, we see how extraordinarily eccentric Tyler is. The way he dresses, the way he walks, the way he talks, all paint a picture of a man who's self-assured and doesn't care what other people think. But the very first scene where we see just how Sigma Tyler is when he speaks to the narrator about consumerism. In this scene, the narrator had just gotten home and discovered that his entire apartment had gone up in flames. Everything from his shoes to his clothes to his electronic devices, all of them gone. Tyler then asks very innocently what a duvet is. The narrator says it's a blanket. Tyler then asks why do people like them to know what a duvet is. He asks why they should even know what it is. After all, it's not essential to their survival. The narrator replied that they know what it is because they're nothing but consumers. And here's where Tyler starts to lay out his philosophy. He attacks the capitalist nature of society and talks about how a lot of things most people hold dear are irrelevant trinkets. Lastly, he says the words every Sigma male must agree with. He says the things you own end up owning you. Sigma males of every class and creed intuitively understand this. They know that consumerism is one of the easiest ways for the world to suck you in and have you behave as it wants. If you're always in a race to have the shiniest chains, the newest iPhone, and the most expensive Nike trainers, you're already stuck in the system. You're already in the rat race. And if there's one thing Sigma males know about the rat race, it's this: there are no winners. No one comes out alive. There's always a new gadget to slave for, there's always a new car to aspire to own, there's always something new coming out. So it doesn't matter what you aspire to own or what you have, you'll always want more. If you own too many things will end up owning you. And when they do, you'll have no freedom to think for yourself. You'll always be a slave to the system. If there's one thing Sigma males aren't, it's a slave to the system. So if you want to be a Sigma male, you need to learn this one important lesson. Don't own too many things, lest you be controlled by them. In this scene, we see Tyler Durden come to terms with his inadequacies. Yes, he's proven he's a Sigma male, but it appears that he suddenly notices one thing. You can't be a Sigma male if you don't practice what you preach. In the bar, he advised the narrator to live a complete life away from the trappings of consumerism. Instead of going on and on about it, he decides to show the narrator exactly what he means. He tells the narrator to hit him, and when the narrator, a clear beta, objects by saying he's never been into a fight, Tyler agrees and said he's also never been in a fight. But, and here's the important part, he doesn't care. You see, Sigma males are never gripped with the fear of failure that many have when trying a new thing. Sigma males always know that they'll succeed or have a chance to try again, and they never preoccupy themselves with being seen as a failure. Tyler wasn't scared that he would be beaten up by the narrator, he just wanted to see what a fight felt like, and he got it. Those are two important traits of a Sigma male right there. They're never gripped by the fear of failure, and they always get what they're searching for. During the movie, Tyler creates a club where men come together and beat up one another. Again, you may or may not agree with this, but what you will agree with is that he handles it the only way a Sigma can. If an alpha male owned the Fight Club, the first rule of Fight Club would be to tell everybody about it. He may even create a website for it and start handing out lapel pins. Why? Well, because he's an alpha, and they live for the public adoration of others. But in this scene, Tyler shows everyone that he is not an alpha, and he doesn't exist in the traditional male hierarchy. Instead, he's a Sigma. He exists outside of it. He tells his followers that the first rule of Fight Club is to not speak about Fight Club. He also tells them that's the second rule as well. Tyler exposes himself here as the perfect Sigma male. He doesn't do anything for glory, fame, or adoration of anyone. He does it for himself. That's why he tells people not to speak about Fight Club. Now here comes Lou. Despite his looks, you can immediately tell he's the perfect alpha male. He's rich, he has a bodyguard, he has on a sharp suit so he looks good despite his midsection, and you can tell he's probably pretty famous. He enters the Fight Club and tries to command Tyler to leave. Tyler ignores him, and this enrages Lou. Lou then attacks Tyler, but instead of fighting back to assert his dominance over Lou, Tyler just laughs and laughs and laughs. He teases Lou, and Lou continues to beat him to a bloody pulp. An alpha male would have decided to take on Lou, but Tyler is not an alpha. To Tyler, beating someone up is just as important as getting beat up in the Fight Club, and he wasn't ready to forego that principle to impress the members of the club. After the fight, Tyler grabs onto Lou and doesn't let him go. He tries to pour the blood from his face onto Lou, and this scares Lou so much that he allows the Fight Club to continue in his basement. If Tyler were an alpha male, that altercation would never have ended in the favor of the Fight Club. It probably would have ended in the death of at least one person. But since Tyler has no ego because he's a Sigma male, he allows himself to be beaten up by Lou for the greater good of the Fight Club. One trait about Sigma males that is a byproduct of their entire psyche is honesty. Most men lie because they have fleeting things to protect. They lie to protect their reputation and their standing in society. They lie to get ahead with women, with strangers, and with their friends and family. While Sigmas aren't entirely alone and do have some connections with others, these connections are usually built on a foundation of complete honesty. Since Sigmas don't have to lie to protect any of these fleeting feelings, they usually end up telling the truth. This is the same thing that happens when the narrator got a call from his insurance company about his blown up apartment. Tyler immediately tells him to tell them that he blew it all up. Of course, at this point, we don't know that Tyler is the narrator and is simply a manifestation of his alter ego. But after the final reveal, we realize just how honest Tyler was being in this moment. As a Sigma male, he cared less about whether the insurance company would find out about him blowing the house up. It was irrelevant to him, as his connection to the things blown up was not important enough for him to lie over. Sigma males are known for being completely truthful because they have no reason to lie. And that's exactly what Tyler was here. Again, you might not agree with Tyler Durden and his goals, but what is clear is that he's a perfect example of a Sigma male. He does what he wants, when he wants, and doesn't care what anyone else thinks about it. If you enjoyed this video, remember to smash that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. Goodbye, and remember to stay brave.